Hey everyone, welcome to Brave Souls. My guest tonight is Sarah Guimond. She is an adoptee, and I can't wait for her to come on and share her story with all of you. So as soon as Sarah joins in and requests, we will get started shortly. Hi, welcome. I'm good, how are you? Sarah is here, and she has requested. We're going to go live and Hi, Rachel. Rachel is Sarah's sister. Hi,
Hey, Michelle.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good.
You have such a pretty background. I feel very boring.
Oh, no, it's fine. I just love decorations.
Yeah, it looks
But
so
sometimes
cute.
it's good too. Um, oh, you're welcome for the prayers for your uncle. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
Benja? Hi, Benja.
What's up, Anna?
Did I say that wrong?
I'm sorry?
Did I say that name wrong?
It's Spanish, so the J-A is pronounced like ha. So it's
Oh, so
Benja.
Benha. Okay, Benha. I
There
like
you go. Yeah.
hello. Hey, Raya. Hey, Trish. Hello. Hi, Jim. Welcome. We have quite a few people coming on early. So I'm gonna give it like 30 seconds and then we'll get started.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course.
So how was your day?
It's good. It's a productive day. Some days it's like a hit or miss, you know.
Oh, I hear you. I know.
Today was a good one.
Good.
How about you?
It's good. I was traveling, visited my friend in Utah last week, and I
Uh-huh.
came back with like a really bad cold. Um, and I was down for a few days. Like this is actually the first day I have my energy back and I'm able to walk around and just feel better. So,
Oh, good.
yeah, I was so glad because I didn't want to cancel on you. So I was like, no, I have to get better for this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pick up vitamin C.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Let me just see. Thanks, Trish. You're getting good at these. I hope so. I'm in my second season and episode number 20, so I hope so.
That's crazy, man. That's good for you. That is
Thank
so
you.
cool.
Thank you. Hi, Fit Cha. Is it Fit Cha?
Cha.
I don't know who that is. Fitchaj. Hi, Elena. Hello.
I'm terrified to touch my screen because I feel like I'm
Oh,
gonna
you know what?
mess.
Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
It's
Thank
over
you.
here, like.
Oh, Andrew Fitch. Hello. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Oh yeah, that's what's up, cousin? That's my
Aw.
cousin.
I'm really glad your family's joining. Good.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll start. So for anybody who joins in late or isn't able to join at all, I do save the lives, as you know. It will be posted to my page right after this, so they can go back anytime and watch it, including you. But you'll be tagged in it.
Awesome.
Okay. So a chocolate Dudley, hello. So Sarah, welcome. I'm so glad that you are joining me tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. I actually spoke with Sarah and her sister Rachel a few weeks ago, and they're just wonderful girls. And I'm having Rachel on next week, next
Yeah.
Tuesday, to share her story. And
Yeah.
but let's talk about you tonight. Hi, Colleen. Hello. Um, but go for it. Just let's start from the beginning, from your adoption story, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Okay, so in 91, I was adopted from Lima, Peru, and from my family who is lives in the States. So I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. And yeah, I always have grown up with such a strong connection to Peru. I've always wanted to come back. I don't know, it just has always been something really special to me. And when I was a junior in college, I studied abroad and I came here. And yeah, no, I loved it. I fell in love with the country and I ended up finding my birth mother. And shortly after I graduated, I then came back here. and back here. I'm currently in Lima, Peru,
Oh,
and
okay. I didn't know that.
yeah, I'm so glad that I like double checked. I do this all the time when I make plans. I keep thinking that daylight savings hasn't happened, so like Eastern Standard Time, we're the same, but then once daylight savings happens, I like get off an hour. So it's like,
So what time is it in Peru right now?
it's 6 o'clock.
PM or AM?
Yeah, PM, PM.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
So you're only
no,
an
I
hour
know.
behind. Okay.
I know, right? Everyone gets surprised by that. But yeah, just an hour behind.
Okay. Well, no,
Yeah.
continue.
Oh, so yeah, I met my birth family when I first came down here. It turns out I have a half brother and sister, and we had a really good reunion. I think I got really lucky with just how everything played out. My family's been super welcoming. My first time my second time I came back to Peru, I got to meet like the whole family. And so that was so nice. I remember walking up, they live on like a 2-story apartment, and I was walking up the stairs, and right there was a sign just saying like, Bienvenido, Sarah, like welcome. I was like with
Oh,
little
that's so
balloons and
sweet.
everything. Yeah, it was really like, I love them. But yeah, so I've been in touch with them ever since, and I've lived here in total from 2012 to now, a collective of like 5.5 years
Okay. So
in
what
Lima.
age were you adopted?
As a baby.
As a baby, okay. And did you know that you were adopted? Were you told growing up, or did you find out later in life?
Yeah, so I was like, I'm a TRA, so my parents are white, and so it was kind of pretty obvious
And
growing up.
TRA is transracial adoptee for anyone
Yeah,
who does not know. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
So
no,
yeah, so
they've
it's
come,
kind of obvious that,
yeah,
of course.
I come from a very, very white town, so it was very obvious that
If you don't mind me asking, so if any questions you don't want to answer, or if you feel uncomfortable, please just
hmm
tell me, okay?
Oh, sure.
Um, if I forgot my question. What was the reason that your birth mother relinquished you?
So the story that I've been told, I've heard it one time when I was like very beginner Spanish. So I really should, I think, like work up the courage to have this conversation with my birth mother again. Um, but the story I was told is that she unfortunately was raped when she was at a party, and I
As
was
you and
there.
I have in common with
Yeah,
both
yeah.
victims of rape. Yeah.
I think it's so nice to be able to find another adoptee that has that similar story, because yeah,
You kind of feel like you're not alone when you meet someone who kind of shares similarities in your story.
exactly. So yeah, so she got pregnant when she was very young, I think like around 18, and yeah, so she wasn't able to just take care of me because unfortunately, she grew up very poor, so she didn't have the resources, and unfortunately, the way things are in this world, that can sometimes result to getting adopted.
Of course.
And
Were
yeah,
you put in an orphanage, or did they adopt you from the home, or
it was in foster care. So
okay?
I was several weeks old when I was adopted, so there wasn't too much of a time lapse, but I did stay with, I believe, one or two families. Like they just took care of me until my mom was able to adopt me and my
Okay.
dad.
Okay. Okay. Now, so your birth mother ended up having other children, right? You said after.
Yes. Yep. So she had another partner like down the line in the future, and from that I have my half brother and my half sister.
Okay, and you talk to them.
Yep. Yeah, we stay in contact. WhatsApp is our mode of communication for the most part.
Okay. Okay, and they live in Peru.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me about your life growing up in your adoptive family. I know you have Rachel's on here, her sister, adoptive sister. She's
Mhm.
also adopted from Peru, correct?
Yep.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so tell me, and any other siblings you had, what it was like growing up with your siblings and your parents and all.
Sure. So I'm one of four sisters. I'm the second oldest. There's my older sister, Rachel, that you mentioned, and she's adopted from Peru. And then there's me. And then besides that, we have Bethany, who's biologically my parents. And then my youngest sister, Leah, is adopted from China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there
What
was
was
just
that like having three adoptees in the family? Like,
it strangely enough, like adoption just wasn't something, it wasn't talked about. And that's been something that's been really like life changing for me and my sister is now that we're, young adults, we've been able to open up the conversation of talking about adoption. And it's just been so nice to like process everything. And I honestly came out of the fog, which is when an adoptee just really starts to process their adoption and the emotions and everything that came with it. And I came out of that like during quarantine. I was, my sister actually passed. You too?
yeah, same.
Yeah. I think quarantine is just like a time, I think, when a lot of people just did some
I hate
introspection.
to say it this way, but it was sort of a blessing in disguise, at least for me,
Yeah,
because
same.
I wouldn't have been able to really tackle my inner demons with
Mm,
adoption and just with myself, and I wouldn't have started BBB Brave. So I surprisingly thank COVID in a way for just that opportunity.
right.
Obviously, not for anything else that happened in this world, but for
Yeah,
me personally, I'm just I'm glad to have that time because I spent a lot of time to myself and just thinking and working on myself. So
I know. I wonder how many adoptees have like come out of the fog during this quarantine. Because I'm sure the same way it made us think about this, I'm sure it did for like some other adoptees out
well,
there.
it's funny because a lot of adoptees I talk to on here or out, or just messaging, also say the same thing. I didn't know that there was a community, that they even like a community existed for adoptees and adoption, and until last year, and I would
Mm-hmm.
have never known, and I would have continued to suffer by myself and just didn't really have anyone, to relate to and resonate with. And I'm grateful for this community.
I know. What for you was that feeling when those doors opened and you like saw that there was a community? Like how did that?
I would say hope.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more that other words I can use, but I think hope is the one I would use because I felt like I wasn't alone in
Mm-hmm.
my struggles, in my head, and my thoughts. That there's other people out there, unfortunately, that go through the same thing I do, and have gone through the same thing. And it's just I wouldn't say nice because I don't want anyone to suffer, but I think it's comforting
Yeah.
knowing that others are out there that you can relate to and you can talk to and not feel like I'm not saying like people outside the adoption community will judge you, but they just don't understand what kind of trauma lies behind adoption. But as soon as you talk to another adoptee, you just don't even have to really go into detail about it. They
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and
It's
that's
like
the comforting part.
yeah, exactly. Like an unspoken understanding of just like I get it. I
Exactly,
get it.
for sure. But
Yeah.
enough about me. Let's go back to you. But I do like talking about this stuff with you.
Yeah.
But so back to growing up with three adoptees in the house. So did your yes, Jim, we are one big Ohana family.
Yeah.
Um,
Ohana.
I don't know if you ever saw Lilo and Stitch.
Yes, I love it.
Do you remember when
Ohana
Stitch says Ohana means family, no one's left behind or forgotten?
or forgotten. Exactly.
I love that, and it's so true. But yeah, so growing up with three adoptees in the household, were you and your siblings? I know you and Rachel, you mentioned before, weren't as close. What was your
Mhm.
relationship like with each other and your other sister, adopted sister?
Yeah, we're actually going to go into a live about that this month because it was a trip.
You don't have to go far into detail then if you want to
Oh
save
yeah,
that for your conversation, but just give me a little brief.
sure. No, yeah, sure. It was we just came from two completely different worlds, two completely different perspectives of adoption. I was very, very gung-ho, like always being like, I'm gonna find my birth mother, I'm gonna go back to Peru, I'm gonna see, like it just was always a part of me. I didn't think too much into it. And then Rachel's like on the completely other side of just like, I want to put all of that like out of the way. I don't want to think about it. And so yeah, like now that we're older and we've been able to get to this place in our relationship where we can talk about it, it's just like opened so many doors for us in our relationship and just allowed us to realize like so much of, so I forgot to mention this part, we just did not get along growing up. And we were able to realize that so much of that stemmed from adoption. And some of the other adoptees we've talked to that have siblings that are also adoptive have expressed to us that it's like it's another journey that you have to go through with people, with another person, in that like you can come from just two completely different perspectives. And yeah, so
So does she
that was
think that because you're both from Peru that you would at least have that bond, that you'd be able to,
right.
relate with each other and stick together in that aspect? But
I know.
surprisingly, you were completely opposites.
Yeah, unfortunately, but we're making up for lost times, which is great. But I know and when I got to Peru, it's just Rachel was like top of my mind. Whenever I would see something, whenever I would just like experience something, I'm like, oh man, like Rachel would love this. Like she has to come. And finally, like she's gotten to that point where she's thinking about coming down. So I can't wait. It's gonna be so fun to just like see her experience it. Yeah.
Well, hi from Poland. Hello, welcome.
I think,
So what was it like with your other sister? Your sister was born from China.
so yeah. Good. I think the only one I really kind of struggled most with was Rachel for that. But yeah, no, with Bethany, we've always been good. Leah, same. Like Leah and I have about a 9-year gap in our age, so she's just always been my little Leah. So we've always had a really good relationship. But surprisingly, with her, not surprisingly, but she also has a completely different outlook on where she's at right now in her adoption journey.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
you said you didn't really talk about adoption growing up in your house. Is it because your adoptive family wouldn't let you, or like or you just didn't talk about it, or if you did bring it up, would they talk to you about
Yeah, it just like what wasn't a thing that we talked about. And it was I don't think until this past year when I mentioned coming out of the fog, like I just don't think I thought about it. I think I was so comfortable with it, but like naively comfortable to the point where it was fine, it was fine. I never thought about it. And then I would see all these different adoptees and see them struggling with different things and then being like, wow, like that makes so much sense why you would feel that way, or I never thought about it that way. And then like the snowball of just thoughts, and then you're like, whoa, maybe I'm not completely fine with my adoption.
But if you did bring something up to your adoptive parents, would they just automatically shut it down, or will they answer only if you bring it up?
They were good about it. I'll give them that. They were always like down to talk. We had like our adoption folders that held like all of our paperwork and stuff. So that was available to us if we ever wanted to just like poke through it and stuff and look at stuff.
So it wasn't really hidden. It was just more just not talked about.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So what was it like for you in school? Were you at all bullied because of you were adopted, or?
Um, no, I think like every once in a while you would hear ignorant comments. Like I remember when I was little, someone had told me, your sister's not your real sister and stuff like that. And I remember coming home and telling my mom, like, Mom, is like Rachel my real sister? And she'd be like, who said that kind of thing? And, kids just say stupid comments and can be insensitive. But
Yeah. So that was considered bullying.
yeah. Yeah, but besides like just some ignorant comments here and there, for the most part, it was okay. I think like in high school, I just wanted to like blend in. And when you're a TRA, that's super, super hard because TRA growing up in a predominantly white town, it's very hard. Like I was probably one of maybe like, I don't know, 5 kids of color, and like 3 of them are from my house. I'm one of 3 of them are in my house. Um, but yeah, like I think that was something that was so cool going to Peru is that when I got on the plane for the first time to go, I just would look around and be like, I'm with so many Peruvians, and this is the first time that I feel like I'm not, I'm just in the background and I can just relax, and it just felt really nice.
Belong too. Like you were
Hmm.
home in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So what was it like? I know it's very, I'm sure it's very emotional seeing your birth mother and just, and all the family. But what was it like for you? Like just like in that moment meeting her and just meeting everyone, in the family.
Yeah, so I met my birth mother first. My father had hired a PI and he went, so the plan was to study abroad. And I think my parents had this thought that I would be looking for my birth mother. And quite honestly, I don't know if I was even going to do that. I was like, Peru's going to be step number 1, and I'm just going to go and check it out and get connected culturally to the country. And then if I like feel up for it and feel comfortable, I'll look into it.
Right.
But yeah, my parents just had it in their mind that that I was gonna do that. So they were like, "Ooh, she might go somewhere dangerous or something." And so they hired a PI. And one day they just like sat me down. They're like, "Sarah, come here. I want to show you something." And my dad just like hands me a paper like this, and I look at it, and at first I'm like, I thought it was me, and I was just like, what is this? And then I looked closer, and the second it like connected in my head that was my birth mother, I look up and my dad just like has like tears around his eyes, and he's like, "We found her." And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, that was pretty intense. um, but yeah, so I had her number and I was ready to go to Peru, and there was a nun that helped in my adoption, and she was kind of like our bridge of communication because I didn't speak Spanish, my family didn't speak Spanish,
Right.
so she helped us. And the only thing that like really bothered me about that is that she didn't tell her that I was coming down. Like she forgot that big detail. And so my birth mother, Gloria, she gets this call and out of the blue of like, your birth daughter found you and she would like to contact you. And she had responded with, she was really happy, but at the same time, she wasn't ready to make that contact. And I'm sure like any other adoptee out there, that's like, I think our biggest fear is just like rejection. And so
Yep.
that was just like,
and in reality, it's happened to a bunch of us.
yep, exactly. It's just such a common fear. And so to be confronted with that at that moment, I was like, oh man, like, all right, it's fine. And I just like push it down. I'll deal with that later. I'm going to Peru anyways. It's gonna be awesome. And I went and I had her number. So I was like, if I get the courage to, I will try to reach out to her, because I had at that point known that the nun hadn't told her that I was going to be there. So maybe that would change things. And I tried giving it a call, and it said the number like wasn't in service. So I thought, well, maybe that's that's just how the universe wants it to be. I'm not meant to meet my birth mother, and that's okay. And I started like getting ready to just process that and like accept that. But then one night I was making cookies with my boyfriend, and I was in Peru, and I was like, let's give Gloria a call. And I just thought, like, let's just see what happens. And I really didn't expect anything to happen. So I'm just like calling her, but talking to Benha because I'm thinking like she's not gonna answer.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, hola, buenas noches. And I'm like,
Oh no.
And I just look at him. I'm like, and so I just hung up. And I had no idea what to say. I was just so in shock that she answered. And then through some like text messages, emails, we finally explained to her like who I was, that I was here,
Hmm.
and arranged to meet. And it was so, man, the moment that I met her was just like, uh, as an adoptee, I feel like you always, in my case as an adoptee, I have just grown comfortable with knowing that I don't look like anybody, and that's okay. And just like get like that's my normal. I don't know any different.
Yeah.
But to like be in front of somebody that you can be like, oh my God, like I can see like myself, I can see you and me or me and you. It was really great. It was crazy to finally like be blood related to somebody, like be in the presence of someone you're blood
Yeah, because you
related to.
have all these images of what your birth family or birth parents look like, but until you actually see them, like a picture of them or in person, it's just like it doesn't do justice.
Yeah.
Like with my birth mother, I didn't have any pictures of my birth parents growing up, so I just pretended what they looked like and just said, "Oh, I could have her eyes, his hair, and
Hmm.
all that." Until I got pictures of them, and I look exactly a lot like my birth mother. Like I now I know what I'm gonna look like when I'm get her age. So
Yeah.
it's scary, but of how much we look alike. But yeah,
uh, it's such a crazy feeling. It's something I think biological kids take for granted. that, like you don't know how cool that is. That's something that's always like fascinated me too. Whenever I would like see, I feel like that being adopted and not looking like someone had made me like hypersensitive to seeing it, and I'd be like, oh, it's so cool. Like
you know
it's
it's
copy.
funny. I'm glad you mentioned it. I do the same thing. I used to do a lot that growing up, and I didn't know why I was so fixated on like, oh my gosh, like he looks like her, or she looks like him.
Right.
Like they have exactly the same eyes or the same nose, and I'm just like, I think like, why am I so obsessed with people? Like, what's wrong with me? I was like, Michelle, get a life. But then I realized like that is part of being adopted, and I didn't realize a lot of what I used to do or think was related to my adoption. And now it
I
just
know.
obviously it makes sense as I got older, and okay, I'm like, that's why I did that. Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because I really, for the longest time, like still now, I never heard anyone else say that.
Oh, that's
I think
awesome.
I should
Same.
say that because that sounds weird, but I'm really glad that you said that.
Yes, and no, it feels good to know there's someone else.
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to ask this next question. You don't have to answer this one if you don't want to. But have you had any interest in searching for your birth father, just to find out his not his side of the story, but just want to know if he knows about you, or just pretty much just tell him like, guess what? This is
Yeah.
here. This is what happened.
Guess what? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm here. No, I
I
have
ask
no
that
problem.
because I have the same situation with you. Like I want to. I'm in the process of kind of searching for him. I know where he is, but I'm searching to get more information. I really want him to know I'm here, and I
Yeah.
want him to know what he did. Like I'm the result of that. Did you know about me? How did you feel? Like do you have? Did you do it to other women? And you don't know if they got pregnant. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm asking. But
Yeah.
please continue.
Before I tell my thing, I just also would love to ask for you is, do you think, like, and you're saying you want to meet with him to kind of confront him and be like, I'm here, but do you think that, is there any part of you that would want to have a relationship at all? Like, say he was like, I know what I did was terrible, or I'm so sorry. Like, if
So
he was remorseful.
there's some things in my adoption story that aren't adding up, and I recently
Mhm.
put a post about that. Um, I just some things aren't just like making sense to me, and as I'm going through everything, um, and obviously I would never call my mother any woman say that they lied. Absolutely not. But I just want to know like did you say that because your husband was in the room, your new husband, or your kids were around, or to make yourself, I guess, not look bad? But again, I would never ever say like that she's making it up. I mean, if I just hope that it's not the case where it was just a one night stand, and in Romania it's a sign, you don't want to be looked down upon in those countries of like
Hmm.
being promiscuous when you're not married and all. So
Yeah.
I get that, but I pretty much just want to ask him. Like I want to ask him if he knows her, and see what he
Hmm.
says. Because when I do ask him, I'm not going to. I don't want my private investigator to ask him out front because then I don't want him to shut down. So I
Right.
want to ask if he knows of my birth mother and see what he has to say.
Hmm.
And then from that response, I want my private investigator to tell him like, well, she claims that she was raped by you. She got pregnant with me. She has a daughter, and I just want to hear his side of the story. And if it's true, I do not want a relationship with him at all.
Yeah.
I just want him to know how much pain he caused me,
Hmm.
pretty much, and how much I blame myself for it. And I know that sounds so stupid because I wasn't even there or alive,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I still blame myself for a lot of things because of him, and I question myself as a person of like I come from that DNA, so what kind
Yeah.
of person does that make me? And
Yeah.
but if it isn't true, which I really hope that she wouldn't lie about that because I have my reservations about her too. Then if it is, not true, but if it isn't true, I think I would want a relationship with him.
Hmm. Man,
Somewhat.
I love the internet, and I'm so glad that we're able to connect because yes, like 150%, yes, that's exactly how I feel about it as well. Is
Yeah.
similarly to you, there's like things that don't necessarily add up, and kind of the same thing again of Peru is a very religious country, very Catholic country, and I want to believe that she wasn't lying to me when she told the story in the same way. Like, I think it's always so important to believe women when they say these things, um, but yeah, the same thing is just like a couple of things just don't add up. I got reached out to on Facebook by this guy, and he was like, how do you know Gloria? And I explained to him, like, at first I was just like, what? But I ended up explaining to him, like, oh, I'm her birth daughter. And he was like, how old are you? And I told him how old I was. And like, he was asking little probing questions to make which kind of made it seem like he was just like trying to, do math in his head and figure everything out. And I had told him, and he said, I'm trying to remember exactly like what he said, but it was along the lines of like, she didn't tell me that she had a daughter. I had no idea. We went to university together, just like walking around things and not actually saying anything,
Right.
like not actually coming right out with it and say anything. But it gave me the impression that I'm like, wait, so, like,
You're
who
too
are you?
invested in this. It's like kind of like
Yeah.
go through my head. Like, why are you so invested in this?
Yep. And so I asked her, I was like, Gloria, like, who's this person? They've reached out to me. This is like the conversation we've been having. Is this my birth father? And she said to me, like, no, that's just a friend from university. You should just block him. Like, just
Oh,
don't answer him. And that just kind of made me be like,
red flags right there.
right? So I think at one other point I did reach out to him, and I was like, listen, uh, do you want to talk? Like, is there something that, you want to talk about? And we had actually made plans to talk, but then he didn't answer, just kind of like stood me up, and nothing came from that. And like, I just got, like super, just the whole rejection feeling again. It's like, even though this might not be my birth father, but, and I wrote him like something like, "Don't be a coward. Just like talks to me. And if like if you know something or you think that like you're my birth father or whatever, like I have the right to know." And he didn't answer. And so just out of like defensiveness, I was like, all right, like F this, block. I just don't want to deal with it. But now I kind of honestly regret that I did that because I don't remember what his name was. And
Yeah.
the same thing of you, like I kind of would just really like to get some answers and know, you know.
Well, it's like Jim. So
Yeah.
Jim, I don't know if you know Jim. He's really a great guy. Go follow him.
Yeah.
He came on with me and shared his story. Very sad but beautiful story. He's going to come on with a part 2 in a few weeks with me. He said all good reasons to ask those questions to your birth dads. Even after 20 years of the end of my search, there are still secrets. And yeah, I mean, I feel like it's secrets until you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes with especially international adoption is a lot harder to find information in domestic. Because with cultural difference, the language barrier, everything, and a lot of my birth mother did apparently. I hate to do this, but it's just because I'm in that state right now of just not knowing what's going on. So I'm like questioning everything. But supposedly she went to the police with her parents, my grandparents, and reported what happened to her.
Mm-hmm.
But later dropped the charges because he apparently threatened her.
Mm-hmm.
So, and in Romania, like they don't keep the records, obviously, if the case has been dropped. So obviously, like, and that's one of the thoughts I had. I was like, oh, well, I can go to the police station, I can go to the courts and try to get a copy of the statement, but they don't keep them when it's dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that would happened. I don't know if maybe he did know she was pregnant or he did it at the time. But yeah, so there's a lot. I
Yeah.
I feel with you about that. That's something that's been on my mind a lot lately. Is it true?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know until I know 100%. And I may never know, and I may just have to live life knowing that I'm just a product of it and just go with that. But I would love to hear the truth.
Really. I think we all deserve the truth to
Yeah,
ourselves. We
because
deserve to hear it all.
he did make that up, and I hated him for so too long, for years, that deprived me of years that I could have reached out to
And
him,
connecting
build
with
a
him.
relationship. I could have felt better about myself, and it would just me question her more,
Mm-hmm.
less the person to do that. But again, that's a whole situation, my story that I don't want to get into right now, but we'll talk about eventually.
Yeah.
But Daria is another amazing person. I don't know if you follow her as well. She actually is connected with Adopted.org.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I met a lot of wonderful people through Adopted.org. Alex Gilbert is the founder, and he's amazing. But yeah, she said it's hard when we find ourselves doing most of the work of reconnecting. Absolutely. Does that man have similar features to you? Is that for me, Daria, or for Sarah? Um, yeah.
If it was to me, he kind of did. He kind of did, and that's why I just was like, I gotta find out, and I tried to connect with him
You
because,
don't
yeah.
have a picture of your birth father, though, obviously, right?
No, no, I don't.
Right.
I grew up with a little one of my birth mother, but I never had one of my birth father.
Okay. Question was for you, Sarah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Thanks for the question. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so I do have a picture of my birth father.
really,
I do. Well, the man my birth mother claims to be my birth
yeah.
father.
Do you see a resemblance? A resemblance?
That's the funny thing, because when I first got it, and that's when I found out. I didn't know growing up. I found out when I went searching for my birth mother about that. So I had no idea growing up. So when I did get a picture of him, I literally stared at that photo for a long time, because I just had so many like waves of emotions going on there. So like the first time, like when I first looked at it, I was trying to see myself in him, anything. Um, but I couldn't, and it's like I kind of wanted to in a way. Like I was like, I really want to see myself in him, but I just couldn't.
Yeah.
Um, but then of course I questioned, like, oh gosh, is this him? Is he my father? Or but but yeah, and then like a lot of other emotions came up too, of like just me, like, and just I started feeling like just resentment towards him, and just hatred, and for what he did, and just like what kind of person he is. And then of course I questioned myself as well. So
Yeah,
down
it's
a
so,
long rabbit hole with that picture.
yup. Definitely. It's so hard when you find out that's like how you got brought into the world. It just really makes you, as you say, just like question yourself and
Yeah.
think that like I believe I told you this before. I would just like stare at my hands and be like, 50% of this is like made up of a really shitty person, if that's what happened. It's just really,
I know. Same thing. Yep. I
hmm
just feel like, what kind of person? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, Dari, it is all about trusting your gut, and that is like kind of, again, I'm not calling my birth mother a liar because I hope it's not true for her, but something in my gut is just telling me that maybe it's not a lie, but there's more to the story that I just
yeah,
don't know, and I think that's where I was actually getting with international adoptees. It's a lot harder to find this information, and you're kind of brought up with this one version of the story, and that's what you go off of until you go searching, and you find another version that doesn't kind of match the version that you grew up with, and then I thought I knew all about my adoption when I was 23 when I found or 20 yeah 23 when I found my birth mom, and then
hmm
now at 32, 10 years later, I'm still questioning it. So um, yeah, I mean, we have a right to know what our story is, and I'm going to do everything I can to find out. So,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think there's so much like themes of shame from like the birth mother's side that it just really like distorts the story for so many of us adoptees, and it's just not fair. Like we deserve to hear our stories and know our story.
And that's what I try to think too. Like, I try to give my birth mother empathy
Hmm
of, like, she's not just a mother, she's a person. She had a tough life. I don't know, I was not there when she was growing up, so I don't know what it was like for her. I don't know what it was like for her in that moment of being attacked, of finding out she's pregnant. Then she was kicked out of her home because she was pregnant, and it's just, I'm sure a lot of things when, it was a tough life for her and just being poor. And um, I could easily sit here and blame her for everything, but I can't, because she is a person too, and that's what I'm starting to, like I said, give her empathy. But the empathy will go away if she lied
hmm
about it.
Yeah.
But for now, I hold her in my heart as, that I feel sorry for her.
hmm
So
Yeah. And have you been back to Romania?
I have not. I just, it's funny. Like, a lot of people actually ask me, like, why don't you just go and visit? And Romania is not just a place for me to just go visit and that's it. Like, if I'm there, I'm gonna want to go see her and
hmm
hear from her lips to my ears that she doesn't want anything to do with me. And then that's when I think I would really, throw the book of questions to her, because she can't escape me while I'm there.
hmm
But yeah, like, it's not like, I could just go to Greece or go to Italy and just like have, it's like
Yeah.
my hometown, and there's a lot of trauma that was there for me that's still there, that
hmm
like I said, I would want to go talk to her. So,
Yeah. No, I
and
can
I'm
completely.
working through that. So once I hopefully find all this information out, I can be able to take a visit there.
Hmm
And I'll be in a
Yeah.
better place to do it.
Hope so.
But I feel like I was talking about me more than you today. So, is there anything that we didn't get to that you want to share?
Um, well, on the topic of like going back to your country, I definitely I understand completely all of the baggage that comes with coming back. And as you say, it's not just like taking off, going on vacation. It's a trip. It's a very important trip in your journey through adoption.
Absolutely.
Um, I myself, I feel like reconnecting with my country has like helped me so much in my development as a person. It's helped me form my identity and create. I don't know. I owe Peru so much because I think it has given me so much of my identity back by being able to be back here, back with my people, learning how to speak Spanish, and just feeling very happy being in the middle where I can, be a hybrid and go in between being American but Peruvian, and
Yeah.
uh, it's been
And
really
that's the
nice.
biggest thing, is just finding your identity. Like,
Hmm
reclaiming your identity is a big part of your
Yeah,
story too. So
exactly.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you that
Ah,
that you had the happy reunion, and that you are in a good part of your healing journey.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it definitely has been a journey, and it's still going because I think a lot of people, a lot of I keep generalizing. I should say for myself, I thought my problems and my questions and everything would just kind of end when I meet my birth family, but it just began. Like it was really just the beginning,
It
and
brought up new questions and new
yeah,
thoughts.
and now you have all these different people that you now have relationships with or that you need to decide and nurture, and it's a lot. It's a lot. Mother's Day coming up, I always get so overwhelmed because I have like my mother, my birth mother, my boyfriend's mother, and just like,
A
oh
lot
my
of
God.
mamas, yeah.
A lot of moms, a lot of
I
moms.
know.
Yeah, it's but bam. I can't thank you enough though for just creating this space, and I'm so grateful for all the adoptees that have paved their way through social media and other mediums to really get the word out and uplift other adoptees. I think it's great work, and I'm just so appreciative of what you're doing.
Well, thank you. I mean, I love connecting with everyone, and it's if I can provide, if that's what I can do for adoptees is provide this space. This takes no effort. I mean, just sit here and listen to their story and give them a voice is what I love to do, and I just want to be able to share as many stories as possible, just so to let people know, like, yes, we're all adopted, but we have different journeys, we have different traumas, and I want there are people, and I always say this, and I feel like I say this too much, but I guess it's not too much. There's always somebody out there that needs to hear your story, like you
Hmm.
personally, or mine, or anyone on here, because there's so many people out there that, again, feel like us, like where we felt alone, or we went through a lot of it. You know, we suffered in silence, and we felt maybe we weren't being grateful. You know,
Exactly.
from our adoption, and I just want everyone to know, like, they're not alone. No one's
Yeah.
alone in this. And you know, to find someone else that you can relate to and talk with and know that they've been through it too, it, like I said, it's very comforting. And to know, like,
Hmm.
okay, like, this is what they've been through too as well, but look at their journey now, look what they are, where they are
Yeah.
now.
If
And
they can make it, so can I, kind of thing.
absolutely, absolutely. um,
Yeah.
yeah, Mother's Day is like birthdays. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Well, Sarah, as a family member, I also want and need to hear this. Thank you for producing this event. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for joining. And that's also
Thank
too is
you.
I love. It's not also bringing awareness to other adoptees that they're not alone. It's bringing awareness to people outside the adoption community,
Yeah.
because I like I said, I want to continue to spread the awareness and shed light that adoption is not all beautiful.
Hmm.
There's trauma behind it, and I want them to know why. By hearing, you know, by telling someone that there's trauma is one thing, but by sharing it and sharing our own traumas, it like, I think, you know, it needs to be told, it needs to be heard by the people outside the adoption community.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm really like glad that people do tune in that aren't don't have any relation to adoption, that really enjoy this and
Yeah.
message me after that they actually didn't know um, how much trauma there was behind until they heard someone's story. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like my favorite part is just being able to educate family about it because I think it comes with so much like good intention defensiveness sometimes that like they get nervous or I don't know, they think that like being critical of adoption is being critical like what does that mean that you didn't want to have us as your family members? It's like no, it's not at all what it means. It's just as you say, it's not all flowers and rainbows. It comes with
No, it's
a
not.
lot.
You know, I'm going to say just one last thing before we go. It was really nice to hear because so my cousins are hearing, my family members are hearing a lot about my adoption through my page and all that they never knew growing up because I didn't share how I felt. They just started knowing now. And my one cousin actually apologized to me and said, you know, my other cousin listened to a podcast about adoption, and then my other cousin, you know, was like, you know, I'm sorry that I didn't realize how much trauma was behind adoption. And thank you for sharing your story and sharing these other stories and just enlightening me about it. And it just, that meant the world to me.
Yeah,
I like to hear that from someone in my family is just so nice to, just knowing that like you don't understand, but you can, you have sympathy of like how it was for me growing up. And the
exactly.
fact that you're realizing that and that you said you were sorry, which you have no reason to be sorry for because they don't know, but it's just so nice that they acknowledge that. Um,
Hmm.
and that means a lot hearing like from an adoptee, like an adoptive family, just hearing from their family members, like just supporting them and understanding more. And
100%.
that is huge. Very. Um, Jim said, Sarah, you're the best.
Aw, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, thank you so, so much, everyone, for taking time tonight and joining in. I love when people comment and join in with us. Sarah, thank you so much for joining tonight and sharing your story.
Thank
Um,
you.
Go follow Sarah. So you and your sister are co-founders of Rewriting
Adoption.
Adoption. Yes.
Yes.
And you're going to be doing a series once a week and just together and talk about your life growing up.
Yep. Yep. Tune in tomorrow, and we're doing our first 4 chapters in our like sister journey of how we got through the fog together and came out the other side best friends.
I love that. Oh, okay. Well, again, thank you, everyone. You two are beautiful women. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Sarah, thank you again for joining in tonight. And again, this post will be I can't talk tonight. This live will be posted right after this. You will be tagged, and next week, Rachel will be joining Sarah's sister next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So I hope to see you guys there.
Great. Thank you so much,
You're
Michelle. Have a
welcome.
good night.
Hey, good
Thank you,
night.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.